This is Scott Morris from Morris Consulting Associates. In today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about the consumer experience, at least in terms of the medical world. And I kind of subtitle this one, It's About Time. And by that I mean, it's about time that the medical system thinks about the consumer first. And I want you to think about this. How long does a medical exam take? How long is too long? How long is not long enough? When we think about what a medical visit's like here in the United States, we have to think about it from the consumer perspective is, what does the healthcare consumer really want? Believe it or not, they don't want to be at their doctor's office for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. They want it to be an efficient process. And yet, in our healthcare system, it still remains a very, very inefficient process. Now, many times the doctors, me being one of them, we get defensive and say, oh no, we're going as fast as we can. This is the best we can do. And I have to question you and challenge you as you watch this, as a provider, as a staff member, and even as a consumer, to address it your provider. Is it the best we can do? Is there a way to improve the system? Because candidly, the system is broke. So what I want you to do, and these are for the providers, medical staff, owners, operators, managers, those types of things, I want you to do a little test. I want you to say, how long does it really take? And here's what I want you to do. We're going to call it, in our office, we call it the DDD, door to doctor done time. Meaning, I want you to write down what time the consumer, the healthcare consumer, i.e. the patient, walks in the front door. Because to them, that's when the exam starts. That's when the product that you're selling, which is healthcare services, actually takes place. So what time do they walk in the door? Last but not least, on the other side of that, when do they walk out? How long should that be? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down, how long right now do you think it takes in your practice, in your healthcare business, for that process to occur? I want you to write it down on a piece of paper, sticky note. I want you to circle it. I want you to stick it on your computer. I want everybody in the office to stick it on the computer and write down, how long do you really think it takes? Then what I want you to do is track for the next 2 weeks, door to doctor done time, and find out. It's an average. Sure, there's going to be times when patients are slower, takes a little longer, but on average, what is it? I will bet that most of you will find out that whatever time you wrote down on your sticky note, take it times time and a half, and that's probably where you're really at. And you have to ask yourself, as a consumer of healthcare services, or services in general yourself, is that too long? Would you wait that long? Do you wait that long? What should be the new norm? Because what's happened in the healthcare system, we've made it about things and tests and time instead of making it about people. And I want you to think from this perspective. People are here right now. They're live. They have expectations. They have needs. And somewhere along the line in our healthcare system, we got stuck with doing testing and making people wait because it was convenient for the providers instead of convenient for the consumers. In the future, access, efficiency, effectiveness are going to be the consumer experience. And are you providing those things in an efficient and yet effective manner? So I agree that we could go too fast, but are we taking too long? And I want you to go through and find that door to doctor done time. And then we're going to say, what do we need to do to fix that? Well, we need to streamline our processes. To do that, we have to know, what are our processes? So when you think about what happens, what's the first step when the healthcare consumer walks in the door? What does it look like? Are they filling out paperwork? How long are they stuck in the waiting room while they fill out paperwork? Then what's the next step? Did they go and have some tests done? Did they have their weight checked? Their temperature? Their height? Somebody's taken a history? How long does that actually take? We start to break things down, we find out that certain parts, there's bottlenecks in every process. Just like in any business, in the healthcare business, there are bottlenecks. And we can't know how to fix them until we know what they are. So the first part of streamlining your process is know, what are you doing now? Write it out. What's your workflow? Once you start doing that, you can start picking those little pieces step by step apart and say, what could we do to improve not only efficiency, what could we cut out, what could we do better, what could we do to make it a more effective process and a better process for the consumer themselves? Because consumers have a choice. Do we want the choice to be to go somewhere else? We have the ability as healthcare providers, healthcare managers to change that experience, and that comes being conscious of what their time is. It means we also have to be comfortable with delegating some of the responsibilities that as providers and as staff members we may not be comfortable delegating. We have to kind of get over it, if you will. We have to learn how to communicate better in a more effective way. In other words, are we saying something and people keep asking us the same questions back? That's not that the consumer doesn't understand. It's that we're not explaining it the right way. So we start thinking about, in those processes we went and mapped out, are we saying the right things? Are we saying it to the right people at the right times? If we start modeling what our communication is like, we may find out that we could do things better. We could do things more efficient. Now, yes, that takes some training. It takes time to teach the staff around us and really to teach the consumer to ask the right questions and do the right things. But at the end of the day, isn't it worth it to provide a better service, to provide better care, to be more efficient, to be more effective? We just have to focus, because at the end, it's about time. This is Scott Morris. Thank you.